This week, we're going to start looking at the AdventureWorks database. So far, we've used this sample database, which is quite simple. It only had a few tables and a few relationships, but the AdventureWorks database is much bigger and much more robust. Let's take a look at the tables in the AdventureWorks database. There are a lot of them, and you'll notice that they have two names. It seems like they have two names. So if you look down here, we have human resources.employee, human resources.department. So these are all tables. These human resource that belong to the human resources schema, SCHEMA, schema. What's a schema? A schema is just a way to organize tables into groups. It makes it easy for security purposes. We can set different owners for each different schema, and we can divide up a giant database full of tables into smaller groups. Okay. Here is the person schema that contains person's address. Here's person.person that create every person in our organization, clients, customers, employees. They're all in this table. We have a production schema that includes a whole bunch of tables coming down through here. We have a purchasing schema, a sales schema. So let's do a little example. We'll just do a select statement. What will we see different? Let's select star from person.person. So now when we select from one of these tables, we need to say the name of the schema followed by the table in the schema. Okay, so we're still a table name, but we're using dotted notation. The person table that belongs to the person schema in this case. We use this table a lot. That's why I'm using it for the example. And you can see here are a bunch of people, first names, last names, titles. Some of them have titles, some of them don't. But if you look down here at the bottom right corner of our results window, you can see that there's 19,972 rows of different persons in our persons table. It's a much bigger database, much more complicated. What if we tried to look at a database diagram for all these tables together? It might be overwhelming. Let's do that. Let's go to our database diagrams. Again, we get that error cannot execute as the database principal because it doesn't exist. The owner doesn't exist. So we can fix that by going to properties, going to files, and set ourselves as the owner of the database. I'm going to hit browse, go down here. Here's my account. Say OK. And now I should be able to go into database diagrams, a new database diagram. The database doesn't have the support objects. Do you want to create them? Let's say yes. And we never have to do that again. So here are all the tables. Okay. Well, what tables we want to do in this diagram? Let's just do the tables we can get from the person schema. Because even at that point, they're going to be quite large. It's going to be a big diagram. We'll get address. I'm going to hold my control key. Address type. Person, person, person. I'm getting all the ones that have person because the schema is listed after them here. So all the ones that have person after them are what I'm going to pull into this diagram. So we don't have to pull every table into a diagram. We can just pull the ones that we're interested in. So today I'm just interested in the person schema. I'm only pulling tables that say they're from the person schema. State and province. All right, let's add them and see what happens. Close this. And let me zoom out a little bit. And you can see these are the tables from the person schema and the relationships that we might need to use later when we start doing joins on these tables. So persons have a relationship to an address. Addresses have relationships to business entities as well. Addresses have relationships to state, province, the state, province, and the country code. Each person has a relationship to their password. They have a relationship to their email address. And this is not every table from the entire database, but I think we got all the tables from the person schema, so we can see those relationships. And remember to use this tool. It usually isn't necessary for simple queries from one table, but when you start doing joins, you'll need to use this tool. So now, when I close this, do you want to save this? Sure, I'll save it. I'm going to call this person. This is the diagram with the person schema in it. So I'm going to call it person schema. So now I have that. Next time I need to query on one of those, I can pull up that diagram real quickly without having to create it. You can have lots of diagrams with subsets of tables that you find interesting or that you need to use on a daily basis. All right. We're going to do a little bit of review of the order by statement in the next video.